Hey everyone, it's me. Welcome back to another video where we explore all things paranormal. From scary stories to ghost encounters, I love it all. And with Halloween right around the corner, what better time to share some spooky season specials? Today, we're going to talk about 4 chilling vacation rental experiences that will haunt you. So grab your pumpkin spice lattes, cozy up in your favorite sweater, and let's get into it. The first terrifying tale comes from a remote cabin nestled in the woods of Pennsylvania. Our renter, who we'll call Sarah, had always dreamed of a peaceful getaway to unwind and reconnect with nature. When she stumbled upon this secluded cabin, she knew she had found the perfect spot. The rustic charm, the crackling fireplace, and the surrounding forest were exactly what she needed to escape her busy life. But little did she know that this idyllic retreat had a dark secret lurking beneath its seemingly peaceful facade. As the sun began to set, casting long shadows across the cabin, Sarah started to hear strange noises. At first, it was just a gentle whisper, like someone walking in the attic above her head. She dismissed it, assuming it was just the wind playing tricks on her ears. But as the night wore on, the whispers grew louder, turning into what sounded like footsteps pacing back and forth directly above her. Terrified, she began searching for an explanation. Was there an animal in the attic? Perhaps a bird that had somehow gotten trapped inside. But as she climbed the attic ladder, she found nothing. The space was empty, dusty, and showed no signs of any recent activity. Yet, the sound continued. Just when she thought it couldn't get any worse, the temperature plummeted. Despite the fireplace still burning merrily, Sarah shivered uncontrollably. The hair on her arms stood on end as if she were suddenly in the middle of winter.
Ladies and
She raced
gentlemen,
downstairs, desperate to escape the oppressive cold that seemed to be seeping into her bones. Suddenly, she noticed something peculiar. One of the windows in the living room was wide open, despite her having closed it just moments before. As she approached the window, she could have sworn she felt a cold hand brush against her neck. Startled, she whipped around, but there was nothing there. Had she imagined it, or was there really something sinister lurking in the shadows of her vacation rental? Our next ghostly encounter takes us to a historic bed and breakfast located in Savannah, Georgia. Known for its antebellum architecture and rich history, Savannah is also rumored to be one of the most haunted cities in the United States. This particular bed and breakfast was built in the early 1800s and is said to be haunted by the spirits of former guests and staff members who never left. When the new owner purchased the property, they were excited to restore it to its former glory while preserving its historical charm. But they soon realized that owning a haunted bed and breakfast was not all it was cracked up to be. Strange occurrences began almost immediately after they moved in. Doors would slam shut on their own, and disembodied voices would echo through the empty hallways. Then there were the apparitions that started appearing in the windows. Guests and staff would swear they saw the ghost of a little girl in a Victorian nightgown. But when they turned to get a closer look, the apparition would vanish. One evening, a guest checked into the supposedly haunted room and decided to stay. Instead of running away from the ghosts, they wanted to see them for themselves. And wouldn't you know it, they weren't disappointed. They too saw the ghost of the little girl, but they also witnessed something else, a malevolent presence lurking in the shadows. It felt as though an evil spirit was watching them, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. The guest described it as a heavy, suffocating feeling that seemed to press down on their chest, making it hard to breathe. They could feel the hatred and resentment emanating from the darkness, and they knew they had to get out of there fast. Our next haunting tale takes us to a seaside town on the coast of Maine. Our renter, who we'll call John, was looking for a relaxing vacation by the sea when he discovered this charming beach cottage. The place was perfect. It had stunning ocean views, a cozy interior, and a wraparound porch overlooking the rocky coastline. But what John did not know was that the cottage had a dark secret hidden beneath its picturesque exterior. From the moment he stepped foot inside, John could sense that the cottage was different from other vacation rentals he had stayed at. The air was heavy with sadness, and there was a palpable feeling of despair that seemed to cling to the walls. At first, he dismissed it, chalking it up to the gloomy weather outside. After all, it was Maine in October, and the dreary weather was to be expected. But as the days passed, the oppressive atmosphere only grew worse. Then the strange occurrences began. John would wake up in the middle of the night to the sound of his name being whispered just outside his bedroom wall. He would hear footsteps pacing back and forth in the hallway, even though he knew he was the only person in the house. And then there were the objects that started moving on their own. One day, he came home from a trip to the beach to find that his phone, which he had left on the kitchen counter, had been moved to the sink. Another time, he found his wallet on the floor, open, and his credit cards fanned out around it as if someone had been trying to use one. As the days went by, the events became more frequent and more intense. John began to feel as though he was being watched, that an unseen presence was stalking him throughout the house. He could feel the coldness of its gaze on the back of his neck, making him break out in goosebumps. Was he losing his mind, or was there really something sinister lurking in the shadows of his seaside cottage? In our final spine-chilling story, we travel to a remote Scottish island shrouded in mystery and folklore. The island is known for its rugged natural beauty, but it also has a reputation for being home to a number of paranormal hotspots. One such hotspot is an old stone cottage that sits on the edge of a cliff overlooking the turbulent North Sea. Legend has it that the cottage is haunted by the ghost of a young woman who died under mysterious circumstances. Some say she was murdered by her lover, while others believe she took her own life after being scorned. But one thing is for sure, her spirit is said to roam the island, seeking peace and closure. When a couple, Mark and Emma, decided to rent the cottage for a romantic getaway, they had no idea they were in for a terrifying ordeal. From the moment they arrived on the island, the weather took a turn for the worse. Storms raged, the wind howled, and the rain poured relentlessly. As they made their way to the cottage, they could feel the oppressive atmosphere closing in on them. The air was thick with a sense of dread, and the waves crashing against the rocks below the cottage sounded like screams in the night. As they stepped inside, they tried to shake off the eerie feeling that had settled over them. They explored the cozy cottage, admiring the rustic charm and the breathtaking views, hoping that the darkness outside would soon pass. But as night fell, the true horror began. They started hearing strange noises, footsteps in the attic above their heads, whispers in the walls, and chains dragging metal moans. Emma tried to convince herself that it was just the wind, but Mark could sense that something else was there. Something ancient and evil was stirring in the darkness, drawn to their presence. As the night wore on, the sounds grew louder and more menacing. Then, as if summoned by their fear, the lights flickered and died, plunging them into total darkness. They huddled together on the couch, listening to the chaos outside and the scratching at the door. Suddenly, stopped. An icy cold hand brushed against Emma's neck and she screamed. Mark felt a prickle of fear run down his spine as he reached for his phone, desperately trying to find a light. In the struggle, he knocked over a candle, sending a single flame dancing across the room. It illuminated a figure standing in the doorway, a gaunt woman with long flowing hair and eyes that glowed red in the dim light. Emma and Mark stared in horror as the specter glided closer, revealing a face contorted in a silent scream. Then, just as quickly, it vanished. The couple spent the remainder of the night huddled together, too terrified to move or make a sound. As the first rays of sunlight peeked through the windows, they cautiously emerged from their hiding place. Shaken but unharmed, they decided to leave the island and never return. Back in the safety of their own home, they shared their harrowing tale with friends and family, but few believed their story. Some said it was just a bad dream, while others dismissed it as an overactive imagination. But Emma and Mark knew what they had experienced. The ghost of the island had touched them, leaving scars that would never fully heal. And there you have it, 4 chilling vacation rental experiences that are sure to haunt you. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to hit the like button and subscribe for more spooky season specials. Thanks for watching and happy haunting.